Okay, so today we're going to be looking at algebraic equations, but only one step. So let's look at this first example. We have x plus 10 equals 30. So I notice that I have a plus here, and I know that the opposite of addition is subtraction. So in order to get x down here by himself, I know that I need to subtract 10 to get these to cancel, and I do it on this side also. So I get x equals 30 minus 10, or 20. Now let's look at our second example. X minus 10 equals 30. This equation is the same as this equation, except for the minus sign. So if this is subtraction, I know that the opposite is addition. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. And that's going to cancel and leave me with x equals 30 plus 10, or 40. Now, in these two examples, you'll notice that my x comes here at the end and here in the middle. So let's move 12 plus x to this side and move my 20 to this side. They are still equal. Now, I also notice here that my x is in the middle, so I want to move my x, which is positive, to here, and my 12, which is also positive, to here, equals 20. And now, because I have my addition sign here, I simply need to subtract 12 from both sides, and I get x equals 8. Now, on this side, I want to switch my x, which is positive, and my negative 10. So I simply bring my x, which is positive, to this side, and I bring my negative 10 here, which gives me x minus 10 equals 25. Now, because I have this subtraction sign, I know that I need to add 10 to both sides. These will cancel. X equals 25 plus 10, or 35. Now, here are 2 examples for you to try on your own. Try these now. Now, in this first example, you should have subtracted 8 from both sides to get x equals 15. Remember, my plus sign means I need to subtract. And on my second example, I see a subtraction sign. So I want to add 6 to both sides. Cancel. X equals 19 plus 6, or 25. Now, let's look at multiplication. Remember that 10x means multiplication. So, the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide my 10x by 10 and divide my 30 by 10. My 10 over 10 is just 1, so that cancels, and I'm left with x equals 30 divided by 10, or 3. Now, on my second example, I have 5 times x, or 5 multiplied by x. So I'm simply going to divide by 5 on both sides, and I'm left with x equals 4. Now, here are 2 more examples for you to try on your own, so try these 2 now. Now, in this first example, we have 4 times x equals 36. So, I simply need to divide by 4 on both sides. 4 over 4 is 1. That cancels. X equals 9. On my second example, I'm going to divide the 6x by 6 and the 42 by 6. And I have x equals 7. Now, this time we're going to be looking at problems with division. So in this first example here, I have x divided by 2 equals 10. So since I am dividing by 2, I need to multiply by 2, or 2 over 1. And I also need to multiply by 2 over 1 on the right side. On this side, my 2 over 2 is 1. That cancels, and I have x equals 10 times 2, which is simply 20, over 1, or just 20. Now, in my second example, I have x divided by 10 is 30. So I'm going to multiply by 10 on both sides. My 10's cancel. X equals 300. Now, in these 2 examples, you'll notice that I have a fraction and an x. And really, this is the same thing as 2x divided by 3. So we still need to multiply. So in this case, we're going to multiply by 3 over 2. Now, let's look at why I'm going to multiply 3 halves times 2/3. 3 halves times 2/3. 3 times 2 equals 6, and 2 times 3 equals 6, which is simply 1. So up here, these are going to cancel out, leaving me with only x. Remember, I'm going to multiply on this side as well by 3 over 2. So I take 8 times 3, which is 24, over 2. And this, when I divide 24 divided by 2, I am left with x equals 12. Let's look at the second example. I have 3/4. So again, I need to multiply by 4 over 3. Four times 3 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12. So these cancel. Multiply by 4 over 3 on this side. I'm left with x equals 6 times 4 is 24. Divided by 3 is 8. So x equals 8. Now, here are 2 examples for you to try now. So, let's look at our first example. I have x divided by 5 equals 4. I know that I'm going to be multiplying, and I'm going to be multiplying by 5 on both sides. These cancel, and I'm left with x equals 20. Remember, I can check by substituting 20 over 5. I'm simply taking my 20 and I'm substituting where I see my x to get 20 over 5 equals 4. And yes, when I divide 20 divided by 5, that is 4, and 4 equals 4. Now, let's look at our second example. 1 divided by 3 times x equals 9, which is the same thing as x over 3. So, I'm simply going to multiply by 3 over 1 on both sides. These cancel. X equals 27.